Hi everyone, it's Kasia from Tarot Map and I want to have some fun. So what I thought we do, I have this new deck from Rockpool, Earth and Bone Oracle, and I thought I'm going to do little pre-eclipse readings for each sign. Okay, I'm going to use not tropical signs, I'm going to use constellational signs. So Patrick from the Living Wheel account, he created this Living Wheel astrology cards, we know that, but recently he was so cool, he has created an extra card for a Fucus constellation. Okay, so if you don't know where your sun was, what constellation was it in when you were born, I invite you to get, a constellational astrology reading. You can get it from me, of course. I would love to read for you. My astrology readings are called spiral astrology readings. I will link them below in the description box. I'm using midpoint method and I'm using 13 constellations of the ecliptic. And this is more of an inspirational reading. So I use image, cards and images of constellations and stories and myths, and also of course astrological information, so you will know what constellation your sun was passing through when you were born, what constellation your moon was activated by when you were being born, and so on and so forth. But today, as I mentioned, eclipse astrology reading. There is this lunar eclipse coming up on 28th of October, and let's just give it a try. So I wanted to kind of introduce this Earth and Bone Oracle deck. I got it for a review from Rockpool, came from Australia. It has this gorgeous gilding, pretty cool, and it's very much a spooky season type of deck. So we're going to pull one card for the sign, for the constellational sign, and we're going to take a look, intuitively via keywords. We're not going to spend a very long time for it, but maybe, I hope, whoever watches this, you get something out of it. So without further ado, let's just sit back, relax, and we are going to do a reading first for the Aries constellation people. So when you were born, fun fact, ecliptic doesn't actually go through the constellation of Aries right now. So Aries is totally like above the ecliptic. If you look to the skies for Aries constellation, it's quite easy to find actually. And right now Jupiter, the brightest, the biggest planet in our solar system, very bright star, like looking planet, it's in the constellation of Aries and it's shining like really bright. So Aries people, this is a card for you. Okay, so let's just shuffle. And what do we have for Aries? So Aries comes with the stand. So very Aries type of, so that's what I wanted to say. Very Aries energy, right? The stand. Aries is a fire sign. It is encouraging all of us to be assertive, to learn that no is a good word, to learn about healthy boundaries. It's about really, following your dreams, going out for there. It speaks about courage. It speaks about determination and fearlessness. Very Aries keywords for Aries people. So if you were born under Aries constellation, or if maybe the eclipse is happening in your Aries house, you have been reminded your natural birthright. You might be needing courage to stand up for it, for something. You are encouraged to stand up for your dreams. You're encouraged to stand up for the underdog. You're encouraged to stand up for people who suffer, to take a stand on things. Sometimes take a stand demands a lot of courage from us and a lot of fearlessness. So for Aries, you become fearless and be courageous to stand for things that are important to you during this eclipse season. Taurus people. So this is Taurus constellation, very beautiful. You can also, oops, come on. It's also easily recognizable in the sky. So what do we have for Taurus people? Beloved. Taurus is ruled by Venus, so here we have that kind of Venusian connotation. So Taurians, if you were born under constellation of Taurus, or if maybe the eclipse is falling in your Taurus house, this eclipse might be important for you relational wise. Okay, so the keywords here are love, reciprocity, and intertwinement. So beware of codependent motions. Sometimes out of comfort, Taurus tends to hang on to relationships that are actually, you know, they lived their kind of time. So take a look at your relationships, see where you can nourish your partners, when you can stop and enjoy relationships you are in. It's not only about, you know, romantic relationships. It can be about friendships, people you care about. Taurus's lesson and gift is to stop and smell the roses. So you stop and smell the roses around relationships, because it's eclipse, lunar eclipse. It might be also a touch emotional for Tauruses in the relationships. Depends, you know, what relationships you are in. Gemini people. Gemini, also easy to find in the sky. What message do we have for Gemini? Migration. We have this, I thought it was a wolf, but it looks like a howling elk maybe, or deer. Difficult to decipher. It's initiation, adventure, and freedom, and the keyword migration. Well, it seems like, you know, Geminis love to travel when it comes to mind, but here we see that maybe for Gemini, for people born under Gemini constellation, or when the eclipse falls in your Gemini house, this eclipse awakens you to this maybe call of adventure. Do something outside of the box. You know, if you walk to work one way, try another way. Also, it speaks about freedom and initiation. You might feel maybe during this eclipse a touch like cringed up or caged up, and to get out of the cage often, it's not necessary physically to get out of the cage. It's a lot of mental work. So for you, Gemini, I have one advice, you know, freedom comes from within. And I know it sounds often, especially, for example, if you're Palestinian now, you would say, fuck you. And we would totally get it, right? Because, of course, from within, like you can't shake off the oppression. But I always think of the book Shantaram. I don't know if you've read this book, but I never forget this like initiatory opening chapters when he is in jail and he feels so free, because I think the true freedom really comes from within. So even in the most oppressed situations, when you kind of feel free inside, and this freedom and this, maybe it's lack of fear, I don't know, you know, I haven't experienced this. I'm just suspecting. This kind of sense of freedom allows you to deal with those initiations and situations much, much better. So for Geminis, either you go on adventure and enjoy the call of adventure, or you might go through initiations and bit of a struggle. But the lesson here is to create, you know, some space in your mind and actually allow this situation to teach you important lesson. Cancer people. Cancer is not so easy to spot in the skies, to be honest. It was, as a constellation, it was called a gate of men. And a lot of, apparently, you know, based on like old myths, a lot of important teachers and spiritual beings and just guides were coming through this constellation as a gate. So for Cancer, shelter, spiritual growth, accountability, and healing. It's the card number 1. That's how it looks. Shelter. Cancer and shelter. Cancer is interesting. As when you imagine crab, it always does 3 steps forwards, 2 steps backwards, right? So if you were born under the Cancer, constellation, or if the eclipse is falling in the Cancer house, it might be something about your home. It might be about a place where you feel safe, when you can rest, when you can recuperate. It's about accountability, healing. Maybe Cancer people, you need to rest and take it a little bit easier. This blue color always reminds me of like really calming energy, not too much information, not too much input, like rather really peaceful, maybe some music. So you guys need to rest a little bit. The other side, what comes to me right now, could be also about creating a sacred space around your house, around your homes. So somewhere where you can actually feel rested, and when you can feel kind of recuperated, but rest, bring some healing. If you were a bit off center, come back to the center. So this is for you, Cancer. Leo people, Leo is a beautiful constellation, very easy to see in the skies, really gorgeous. And you guys get Wayfarer, which kind of looks a little bit like a hermit card from tarot, reminds me of hermit. The keywords as contemplation, search for truth, and inner guidance. So for Leos, people born under Leo constellation, or when the eclipse is in the Leo house, Leo is usually very expressive and outgoing. Well, during this eclipse, you may be called to, pull your light in a little bit and withdraw energetically from outside, and maybe from like exposing your energy so much. Maybe for your creativity, you need to actually pull back a little bit. It's good time for contemplation, for meditation, for thinking about stuff, and for connecting to the inner guidance, inner guide. So Leos, you kind of hermit out this eclipse a little bit. Virgo people. Virgo is, of course, one of the biggest constellations out in the sky. So a lot of people were born under Virgo constellation. My moon here, and a lot of like points are in Virgo constellations. Virgo is a very goddess-like constellation. It's one of the ancient constellations, really connected to long priesthood and goddess line. And doesn't she look like Mary? So for Virgo heart, it's interesting that I started talking about all this goddess lineage, because, pulling this card, it's kind of like a confirmation. It's a heart path for Virgos. Virgos are connected to healing energy, to priestessing healing spaces, to priestessing natural sacred spots, sacred language. It speaks about emotional awakening, intuition, and following your heart. So Virgos, for you, it's a great time, if you male, female, non-binary, to connect to that heart path. Really be careful, gentle with your heart area, with your emotions. I love that lit up crown chakra. I think it's a perfect time for you to really connect to this feminine path of receiving, gratitude, staying open, being a vessel, because it seems like a lot of information can come through. And make sure you use sacred language. You allow like the energetical frequency of openness, love, celebration, gratitude to be present during this eclipse, even if your heart feels broken, Libra. I haven't found Libra yet on the sky, so I don't know. This is a Libra constellation. It scales. What can we say for Libra people? This what came up. It's called flight. And we have this bird, which is maybe a crow. We have this pink roses, very Libra-like. The keywords are opportunity, prosperity, and new venture. So for Libra people, you guys have an opportunity during this eclipse to maybe stay open to something new popping up. Eclipses for people can be very like full on and intense, can be on one hand, and disruptive on the other hand. For some people they can be full on and intense, but like very like, you know, opening you up to some new ideas, to some new things. And it seems like you, people born under Libra constellation, or when the eclipse is in your Libra house, so see where Libra constellation, but it's different to tropical. But anyway, if you want to go with tropical, just go with tropical. But this, yeah, specifically for constellational astrology. So opportunity, prosperity, and new venture, something new. It's a good time to start something new, to maybe, you know, spark this idea up, like discuss things, and so on. So now we move to Scorpio constellation. For Scorpio people, if you were born during the Scorpio constellation, this is the card that came up for you, Flow 21, and recovery, moving on, finding peace. So of course, Scorpios usually quite intense and emotionally, you know, deep. This card also kind of seems to be quite intense, like there is some emotional turmoil, or, you know, kind of lots of intense emotions, feelings. The whole world is fucking intense. It's, you know, we feel it, right? If you choose to speak about it or not, I'm totally off judgment here. It's like intense wherever, whatever corner of the world you look at, it's fucked up. It's really intense. So Scorpios are usually big feelers. So if it's your personal life, or if it's coming from, you know, outside as well, all of us are quite empathetic. We feel it. We all connected. So recovery, moving on, and finding peace. Scorpio, you take care of yourself during this eclipse. It might be intense. So make sure you kind of find some calm in the storm, you know. So if you can recover, is it from, you know, illness or this kind of discrepancy in the disruptance in the world, find some inner peace. And often for Scorpio, it's important to, you know, move the emotions. So for you, I feel like dance gently, or move, or even sit and kind of do like the trauma like exercises, when you can actually not allow the emotions to be stuck in your system, but just let them out a little bit without you know, being too dramatic about it. And then we have a Fucus people. So if you were born under a Fucus constellation, if you are an Fucus person, you have a card that's called adversary, hard work, diligence, and progress. So for all the Fucus people, which is, you know, very similar energy to Scorpio, but it's energy where a lot of Fucus people work with like poisonous path in some way. They transmute poison into healing. So you guys have a lot of energy to use, either to, you know, kill or cure. And often these are like healers. So here it seems like it might not be the easiest time for you, Fucus people, and it will require, and again, a lot of blue rose, blue path, you know, it will require a lot of hard work and diligence. So if you're working on something, just make sure no shortcuts. Don't get too disrupted by this eclipse. When it comes to your work, focus on what you are doing. You have to like keep steady, keep concentrated. That's how you will progress forward. So for a Fucus, it might be struggle. It might be a little bit, you know, up and down, a lot of intense emotions to transform, but you are encouraged to again use this blue kind of calm energy, stay on your, you know, on your path, do hard work, don't do shortcuts, you will progress forward. Sagittarius people born under Sagittarius constellation, really cute in the sky, looks like a teapot. You guys are very kind of magician-like energy for the eclipse. Higher self, fertility, and creativity. It is conjurer, and you know, it reminds me of the magician from tarot. It's like juggling all this kind of pentacles. So for Sagittarians, you guys get creative, get your passion fired up. You might actually, this time during this eclipse might be really interesting for you to, you know, get some creative juices out there, reconnect to what you're, you know, what you're passionate about, your passions, your dreams. It might like come through flowing, you know, like in Tower moment when you just go, ah. Or if you had an idea before, this eclipse time might be a good time to kind of start juggle with it and reconnect to it. Capricorn, moving on, Capricorn energy, through Capricorn constellation, quite easy to spot in the sky. I learned how to find it. It's really beautiful. And you guys get Sage, harmony, acceptance, and patience. So she reminds me of the High Priestess, maybe through the number as well, you know, could be also Hermity, but it's interesting to see this combination of Capricorn and Sage, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. It is supposed to be like very wise, you know, guide-like teacher energy. All the great teachers like, you know, Jesus, and a lot of this where Jesus came from, you know, Egyptian gods and so on, they seem to be around the Capricorn time, at least Capricorn from, like, you know, tropical astrology. But if we speak about constellation, this is a very ancient constellation as well. It's a constellation of sea goat and, you know, a sea and a goat, like a mermaid and a goat, or a fish and a goat. It's a very strange combination. It's supposed to be, I have a video on Capricorn constellation, actually, you can check it out. But for you guys, really take time out, you know, or maybe you are called to step up and share your wisdom, share your knowledge with people. Here's harmony, acceptance, and patience. So don't rush. Things will, you know, evolve in their own time, in the perfect timing. I like this color of this kind of turquoisey green and gold, like kind of, you know, do things in the right timing and don't rush things. So if you're impatient during the eclipse that maybe also wants you to rush, don't rush. Just steady will do it for you. Aquarius constellation, so people born when the sun was passing through Aquarius constellation, you guys need to ground. So card that I pulled for you is Roots. And it speaks about ancestry, legacy, and tradition, which is quite funny because we know that Aquarians often are very non-traditional. They don't like to follow tradition. They like to invent their own stuff. They're very future-oriented. They're futuristic, you know, and they kind of original thinkers and so on. So for you, it's to take some root, ground your energy. Aquarius is air constellation. It can get attached, you know, uprooted. So during this eclipse, it's really important for you to root yourself. I can feel this kind of strong, like heavy hands, heavy legs, you know, ground your energy. But it's a perfect time for you to do some ancestral work, maybe research your lineage, maybe check which traditions you may be wanting to work with, you know, what's your legacy. And also some of you may feel like trapped in, you know, in this kind of biological karma. So Aquarian energy is also liberating. So how can you liberate yourself from patterns and families, like, you know, patterns that maybe are not worth repeating? And then the last constellation, Pisces, beautiful Pisces. What do we get for you? You guys get Nest. Charity, generosity, and gratitude. But I had a strong sense of like really home energy for you, taking care of the loved ones, taking care either of your children, hanging out with your families, your friends, and so on. If you don't have children, hanging out with your projects, just like nurturing things. And it's interesting that it comes also from your head, so crown chakra. I feel it's a big upload of like, yeah, gratitude. You stay open because something creative, something gorgeous, something that can nourish you can actually come to you during this eclipse time. But it's good time to spend at home, to make like comfy, you know, comfy food. It's kind of a good timing for you, Pisces. So that's it, my friend. What do you think about this oracle deck? I actually really like it, and it's not necessarily my you know, my art style to the end, but it's a cool oracle deck. I like the aesthetics, and I kind of really enjoy it. So there you go, my friends. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon. Bye.